Welcome to the session. Topic of this session is investment policies in agriculture. You know, the investment is most important aspect in order to promote the growth and equity in any sectors. Being the importance of agriculture sector in the the agriculture economy, there is a good importance to the investment in agriculture sector also. Investment is required to provide the the production base to increase the efficiency of the sector. So that's why there is importance of investment in any sectors, being agriculture or other sectors. And the basically investment is done to promote the country production base, like the development of the roads, development of the electricity infrastructure, development of research and development of organizations, development of the market infrastructure. So it is very important, and both public sector and private sectors, they are making investment in agriculture sector. And in the initial period, the public sector was dominating in making the investment in agriculture sector, but later on the share of the public sector is declining and the share of the private sector is increasing in agriculture sector also. So basically in this session we will be discussing about the in growth and the pattern of the investment in agriculture sectors, what are the important determinants of investment in agriculture sectors, and what are the reasons for slow investment in agriculture sector. So we will be discussing in this session, and we will also discuss about the policies on investment in agriculture sectors. So the capital investment lays the foundation for high rate of the growth in agriculture sectors. And we have the added importance to the capital formation or capital investment in agriculture, because the agriculture sector is critical to the development of or for the growth of the Indian economy as a whole. So that's why we have the critical role of investment in agriculture sectors. And basically investment is needed for creating and maintaining the productive assets like irrigation and other farm-based assets, and promoting growth agents like agriculture research, education, extension, and rural infrastructure and the agro-processing industries in rural areas. And we cannot ignore or neglect the capital formation in agriculture sectors. And it is some of the experts say that the Indian agriculture did not receive the attention which it deserved. The contribution of agriculture is substantial, but investment compared to other sector is low, and so there is a neglect of the capital formation in agriculture sector. And the share of the public sectors is declining sharply after 1980s, and as a lagged effect, the growth of agriculture sector is also tended to slacken, after 80s. And actually, both the public sector investment and private sector investment is important. It is essential for the growth of the agriculture sector. And now let us first understand the concept of the agriculture investment. And basically, investment help in the development, acquisition and modernization of the productive assets, and like irrigation, the electricity, the farm assets. And when we talk about the meaning of the investment, basically it is the flow of expenditure to increase and maintain the capital stock. Capital stocks means the physical resources which have the utility over the period of time. The making of investment is basically to improve the quality of the rural assets and enhance their productivity. And the capital investment can be done in the form of the physical and as well the human capitals also. And so basically the capital formation or the investment of is basically an outlay on producing unit own items, they do not enter into the intermediate consumption in the same period. So, basically it is those items or these capital assets which have utility over the period of times. So, expenditure on such item is basically an investment. And we use different terms for the investment, like in the capital formation, capital expenditure or capital outlay, and we use this term interchangeably. So, they have the same meaning. Capital formation or capital investment in agriculture basically takes place by the both the private sector and public sector, and the private sector investment are having two components. One is the investment by the individual household or individual farmers in both rural areas and urban areas, and basically the farmers make the investment to have the formation and improvement of the farm assets. And here the private corporate sector investment is also there. Basically they also concentrate in the investment in the orchard activity, plantation activity, or basically establishment of the agro industry. And the private investment in agriculture, basically the public sector investment in agriculture, basically the state government or the national government or government of the union territories, they make the expenditure mainly to create the irrigation, the research and rural infrastructure in the rural areas for the agriculture sectors. So, when we talk about the investment, it is basically the addition to the real physical assets, not financial assets such as the share or bonds. So, basically it is the increasing of the real capitals, real increase in the productive potential. So, it increase the basically the production capacity, and also for that purpose we need to have the mobilization of the community saving into the channel of the production or productive investment. And there are different benefits from the capital formation or the investment in agriculture. They help in bringing the innovation, or basically they help in adopting the technology, like we make the investment to improve the land resources, land leveling, land reclamation, flood control, drainage system development, or development of irrigation facilities. And also they help in the innovations and use of farm powers and farm machineries. And also the investment basically to improve the development of the biological resources. So the another benefits of the investment in agriculture is help in the improving the efficiency of the market mechanism by development of the rural networks or road networks, and basically creating the resources for transportation, storage and other market infrastructures. And when we talk about the agriculture investment policy in India, the agriculture basically is state subject in India. So, in the respective state governments, basically they make the most of the public investment in agriculture sectors, and but the national agriculture policy, they serve the guideline for the state level government for developing the state agriculture policies. And the national policy documents basically they highlight that the agriculture sector is starved of the capital. There is a lack of capital in the agriculture sectors, and there is the national policy highlight there is a decline in the public sector investment in the agriculture sectors. And that's why the planners they realized the importance of the accelerating the both public sector investment and the private sector investment for achieving the high growth rate in agriculture sectors. And the basically the plan process, we have the 5-year plans. They basically mostly dealt with the public investment. They highlighted the importance of the public investment, and they discussed the issues related with the financial plant expenditure of the public sectors. So, and there are policies in private investment in agriculture received little attention, but now the government is focusing more of the private investment in agriculture sectors, and the government is changing their policies, and they are encouraging the private household or corporate investment in the agriculture sectors. And when we talk about the current policy on the investment in agriculture, there is no separate policy of its own for agriculture investment. And basically agriculture investment policy is embedded in the subsector policies of like the national water policy, national agriculture policy, national seed policies, then agro-industry policy, rural infrastructure development policies, agriculture marketing policy. So all these policy have the component of investment, but there is no separate policy, and basically there is emphasis on the stepping up the public investment in the agriculture sector. They always all the policy documents they highlight the need to stepping up the public investment, but there is no clear cut articulations and priorities in all these policies, and it is also found there is a lack of coordination among the departments and different ministries in formulating investment policy and implementing the investment policy. And the investment in agro processes is the important sectors where a lot of focus is there, and the national policies aim to increase the level of food processing in the country. And when we compare the food processing activity in India with other developing and developed countries like USA, UK and China, Brazil, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, we have very low level of food processing activity in the country. And the important reason is that we have the poor infrastructure and primitive technology in the food processing sectors, and there is a high level of taxations and government policies towards the rural industrialization is also not very much focused. So now, but there is several policy measures have been taken to increase the private investment in agro processing sectors. So now there is a wide ranging fiscal policy changes have been introduced progressively, and like there is a excise duty and custom duty rates have been reduced substantially, and tax incentives is available for the new manufacturing units in certain years, and then the licensing systems have been abolished in the country, and there is a automatic investment approvals most of the food processing sector in the country, and the processing country they can import export the items, all items except some of the items are there in negative list, and the several new schemes have been developed started for the capacity utilization, for increasing the capacity utilization, and special organizations like the small farmers agribusiness consortium have been set up to promote the agro processing activities in the country. And then rural infrastructure is another important sectors, and basically it play a critical role in the input and output fronts. And when we talk about the input front, the rural infrastructure help in ensuring the timely and adequate delivery to the farmers, and in output fronts the rural infrastructure help to integrate the local market with the national and the international market. And so that's why support for infrastructure development is very important, and has evolved dramatically, and particularly for the power sector, the irrigation sector, then the storage and market development. So a lot of importance is there for that, and rural infrastructure development funds have been created in the 90s, and recently also government announced the capital investment programs for promoting the agriculture sectors. And when we talk about the rural infrastructure, there is a high priority on the rural electrification, which is prime mover for the agriculture development, and there is a focus on the development of road, irrigation and power and telecommunication facility in the rural areas, and there is emphasis also on the development of marketing infrastructure. And when we talk about the national policies, agriculture policy, that is basically promised to ensure greater private investment in rural sector through the allowing the contract farming or land leasing arrangement. The agriculture research, education and instruction is the another focus of the investment policy in the agriculture sector. The public sectors or public investment is continuously increasing in the agriculture research, education and extension to meet the social objective. But both the state government and central government, they are making available fund for the development of research, education, extension, infrastructure, and the total funding for agriculture research and education increased tenfolds, from the period of 1960 to 90s, and that has led to the development of several improved technology and management practices in agriculture sectors. And some of the technology developed by this research and extension system or research and development systems, which have magnificent impact on the growth of the agriculture sector. And it is estimated that the annual rate of return to investment in agriculture research ranging from the 35% to 155%. So, very good rate of return from the investment if you make in the research, in the agriculture research particularly. And still it is, when we compare with other sectors or other countries, there is still under investment in agriculture research, education, extension by the public sectors. And so that's why the research resources in agriculture sector became scarce. And although India has one of the largest agriculture research system in the world, and India is spending only 0.31% or 0.11% or 0.22% of the agriculture GDP on the agriculture research, education and extension respectively. So, there is a low investment in agriculture sector when in the country when compared with other developed country. And the share of the private investment is only 50% in research and education and only 8% in the extension activity. So, here the private investment is very much required in the research and education and extension activities. And actually we need to develop the linkage between public sector and private sectors in order to develop the infrastructure or institutional investment for research and education and extension sectors. And actually we need to generate some new resources, we need to generate some opportunity to generate the resources, like we can start the services, we can start the payment for service by the farmers, growing high value enterprises. So, some of the farmers who are rich, we are big farmers or which are cultivating the high value crops, they can make some payment for the research on extension services. Like then income generation through the commercialization of technology and services can be done to promote to generate the resources for investment. And then contract research with private sector can be started. Then we need to enhance the autonomy of the agriculture research and extension system to take their own decisions and to promote the research and extension activities, and then improve the decentralization and devolution of the power. So, we need to provide more power to the research institution, and then we need to improve the financial management of this organization through the project based budgeting. In that manner we can improve their financial management. And when we talk about the foreign direct investment in agriculture in India, there is a 100% foreign direct investment FDI through the automatic routes. There is a investment on the floriculture, horticulture, apiculture and cultivation of vegetables and mushroom under controlled conditions, and there is a 100% FDI for the development and the production of seed and planting material. Then in case of animal husbandry, including the breeding of dogs, fish farming, aquaculture, under control culture, 100% FDI is there. And the service related to the agriculture and its allied activity, there is also 100% FDI is there. And there is a foreign investment of up to 100% under the government route in tea sectors, including tea plantations. So, here the investment should come through the government route. The approval of the government is also required if the investment is on the T sectors. And here we can see the information about the growth of the capital formation in agriculture sector. So data is given the gross capital formation of agriculture and allied sectors, it was 2,51,094 crore rupees in the year 2012-13, which has increased to 2,73,755 in the year 2017-18. And here the data is also given about the gross value added of agriculture and allied sector. So again the absolute amount is increasing over the period of time. But when we see the share of the gross capital formation of agriculture sectors and as a percentage of the gross value added, so here you will see there is a slightly declining trend in the capital formation in agriculture sectors, like in 2012-13 around 16.5% was the capital formation of the gross value added from the agriculture sectors, and it has reached to 17.7% 2013-14, and after that it was having the declining trend, like in the year 2017-18 the gross capital formation in agriculture sectors as a ratio of as a percentage of the gross value added, it is about 15.2%. And then the last two columns, we can see the share of the public sector and private sector. So, but here you will find that the share of the public sectors now started increasing, like in the year 2012-13 the public sector contribution gross capital formation in agriculture sector was 2.4%. Now it is increased to 3% in the year 2017-18, and the share of the private sector, initially it was high, like 14.1% in the year 2012-13, and it has reached to 15.6% in 2013-14, and now it has declined to 12.2% in the year 2017-18. So there is some trend is there in the public sector and private sector investment, and there are different determinants of the agriculture investment, like basically the socio-economic conditions, the political, institutional, ecological factors, they affect the agriculture investment behavior, and the behavior of the public sector is basically governed by the government access to resources, the resources they have in terms of revenue and grants. Then there was a competing claims from the on the available resource from the different components like subsidy burdens. So then agriculture productivity or population growth and rural literacy, they also affect the government decisions about the public investment in agriculture sectors, and there are different reasons for slower growth in the public investment, like diversion of resources from investment to the current expenditure in the form of the subsidies there, and basically large expenditure on the maintenance of the existing projects is there. Then there is sometimes inordinate delay in the completing the project in the hand, and there is a lack of effective credit support and credit infrastructure in rural areas, and also there is a slow growth or belated growth in private investment in agriculture sector. And when we talk about the determinants of the private investment in agriculture sector, there are two sectors in the private household investment and public investment. So in case of the private household investment, there are two types of factors. One is the price factor, another is a non-price factor. And so in terms of price factor, terms of trade of the agriculture sector, interest rate, the farm wage rate or subsidy, they also basically affect the investment by the farmers. And then when we talk about the non-price investment, the rate of return on investment, institutional credit, and the allocative preference of the farmers, and then public investment on rural roads, irrigation and market, they also affect the public private investment. And in case of the corporate investment, that is basically determined in terms of overall economic development, overall economic environment in the country for the investment. And here government policies toward the taxation and land sales, they affect the decisions of the corporate about investment. And basically level of infrastructure development in the region also affect the decisions of the corporate sector on making decisions in the agriculture sector investment. And basically, when we talk about the impact of agriculture investment on growth and poverty, and it is very important, and investment and agriculture growth, basically they have the positive impact for elevating the poverty in the country through the rural infrastructure development, which basically influence the poverty, and basically by creating new employment opportunities. And if we have the investment, we create the new employment opportunities, so there is a reduction in the poverty. And when we have the investment, it also change the input output prices of the agriculture sector, so it also influence the growth and the growth prospects of agriculture. And basically the investment basically increase the cultivation of the perishable products, and crop diversification is there. If there is investment on road or the marketing facilities there, so the farmers adopt some and the more commercial crops. And the public investment in agriculture appear to have strong trickle down characteristics, so they have the positive impact on the then. And when we talk about the capital use efficiency in agriculture, actually not only the amount of investment, but the importance of efficiency of the investment is also very important. So it is not enough to analyze only the trend in the level of the investment. Actually, equally important is to assess the efficiency of the investment made, how much we are able to generate, how much we are able to produce out of that investment activity. So efficiency of investment is usually assessed by the incremental capital output ratio. And so when we assess the efficiency, the another dimension is the regional variability. Actually, all the areas, all the regions should be provided, the amount of the investment should be there. So all the sectors or all the regions should develop, prosper simultaneously, and we reduce the regional disparity. And so when we talk about the investment requirement in agriculture, actually we need to have big push in the agriculture investment to have the agriculture growth on a sustainable basis. And one of the estimates is that if we want to achieve the 4.5% growth rate in agriculture sectors, the investment should grow at the rate of 12.32%. So substantial amount of growth is required in the agriculture investment. And there is a wide gap is there in the required and current growth rate in the investment activity in agriculture sectors. So here again, not only the quantum of investment in agriculture is important, but also the regional pattern of deployment of the investment, and also the capital use efficiency is also very important in agriculture sectors. And we have certain policy implications, like we need to enhance the public and private investment in agriculture sector for agriculture research or for creating rural infrastructure like road, market, storage and irrigation. And basically we need to have a blend of the public sector investment and the private sector investment. And it is also very well recognized the investment is the better instrument than the subsidy. And so a lot of investment is there on subsidy. So it is better if we can divert this subsidy component toward the investment activity. And so actually we must have a stress on increasing the private investment, and the allocation of incremental investment to eastern and southern region is also very important, because here there is a more capital use efficiency is there. So we will be able to generate more production if we have investment in the eastern region of the country or in the southern region of the country. And now we can sum up the session that there is a policies and plans are there for the agriculture investment which are concerned about the agriculture investment activities, and they talk about the positive impact of the investment activity on the agriculture growth and in the poverty elevation. and several significant policy changes have been taken place in the country to promote the agriculture investment since independence. And we had the mixed performance when we talk about the agriculture investment and the growth of agriculture sectors, but a lot need to be done to promote the investment in agriculture sectors, and there are lot of policy actions are taken up to improve to promote the agriculture investment in the country. Thank you very much.